Hey everybody, welcome to The Flick. Better Call Saul's back.
Yay!
Season 3, episode 1, Mabel, picking up pretty much right where we left off.
Yeah.
Like not even barely a previously on. We're just right into it.
I was actually really confused. I was like, wait, is this episode 2? Did I miss something? Because it was so
I had to go back to Wikipedia and remind myself, oh yeah, right, because in the Ermin Trout in the desert with the guy and the sign.
Yeah, it didn't actually end with his brother conking his head. I forgot we actually had an episode after that. We didn't have to wait a full season to find out.
The tape recorder episode, yeah.
So, that intro.
Yes, this is the longest we've ever spent with modern day Gene in the Cinnabon. But yeah, a nice little sort of vignette of his sort of, his torn identities.
Like, first he rats on the kid, and then he's like, "Get along!" I was like, "Yes, you can't deny who you are." I feel like we're gonna get more. I think we're actually gonna eventually see when they've gotten to a certain point. We're gonna get that post Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul. I feel like ultimately it could go there. I hope. I mean, I don't know if it'll happen. It's what I want to see happen.
I don't know. I mean, they're because they're always shot in black and white, and he's so sort of defeated and moving like he's underwater. I think we're just meant to get dollops of these. I can't see them building a show out of that. But you never know.
Maybe final season.
You never know. I like the little detail of the fact that he's reading David Niven's memoir, The Moon's a Balloon. Like, why not? Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was probably one of the more significant things that happened in this episode, because for a season starter, I felt it to be a little slow.
A little bit. It's funny. I was at a party last night, and I left early because I had to go home and watch this episode because I hadn't looked at it yet, and people were like, "Yeah, that show, I like it, but the pacing is so weird." And I'm like, "That's kind of part of what I like about it. It doesn't feel this. You don't feel like it's these sort of TV beat,
exactly.
Things that are going on."
This one particular, I think just for me, knowing what I've seen out of Vince Gilligan for season openers, and usually his big thing is he does like the biggest part of the season, the second to last episode. But it just felt that. It just didn't feel right. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't as engaging.
We're not taking a giant leap forward here, definitely. But it kind of reminded me of that scene in The Americans this year, and that was I think in the first or second episode of the season, where they're digging the hole. And they dig that fucking hole.
For like 11 minutes.
And this one's like, Mike's gonna take this car apart, and you are gonna watch him take this car apart.
But that was good. And then the final realization of, oh, it's in the gas cap. Yeah. So going back, we see Mike definitely not trusting of whatever is going on, and he knows somewhere a tracking device has been planted. And at first I thought they were gonna throw it and be like, oh no, just kidding, it's not.
Right.
But then he finds it in the gas cap, and the way that he goes about reverse engineering.
That was brilliant.
I know.
And again, and how this show trusts you to not have him have to tell somebody what he's doing. Like, you just have to watch, and eventually it's going to unfold, and you figure out what it is, and you do.
Yeah, you realize at the same time he does. It's a very nice way of doing that first person perspective without having it to be shot in first person. I loved it.
So it's like, however, if you are going to have a conversation in which two people explain something that they already know to the audience, the conversation between Chuck and what's his face? The awful guy. Was a very good, like, well, you can't use the tape for this, you can't use tape for this, you can't use the tape for this. But, he's got something in mind, and we'll find out later what that is.
And like, Chuck, why are you, like, I get it, Jimmy screws up, but I think he screws up more because of you.
Well, sure, but here's the thing though, like that Jimmy screws up and gets away with it is always kind of a stone in Chuck's shoe. But that Jimmy screwed up and got away with it in a way that made Chuck look incompetent or imperfect, that cannot be forgiven at all.
Just Chuck's ability to he's just so, I don't know. I don't like Chuck. I just don't like Chuck, man.
Well, we've gone back and forth, but I think now we're firmly like, no, you're not good news. The scene though of Jimmy with the Air Force guy that's vintage Jimmy right there. Like, I thought it's like when you watch those videos early on of like how Kellyanne Conway diverts what the conversation is about. You can see him constantly either changing the subject or like putting the other guy on the defensive. Like, he's a master of that sort of rhetoric.
That was a Saul Goodman moment, right?
Totally,
there.
yes.
It was so refreshing, and then we see, we see everything with why am I blanking? Jill? No, I'm blanking her name.
Rhea Seehorn. I know. I was just trying to remember it too. Hang on, I'll look at it.
I know, like,
but
well,
yeah.
Yeah, but so in watching her, like, no, these are my clients now. I'm taking this on. I don't need your help. You know, you've already put me enough. Kim, thank you, and enough hot water. So and then to see her guilt over the Mesa Verde deal, like she almost went to tell her friend.
Yeah, like and that's the thing. She, you know, I think her original thing was like, well, we're just never going to talk about it, you know, and she's gonna do great work, and she is. But yeah, now she feels guilty about it, and to the point where she is obsessively like, you know, is that a dash or is it a semicolon?
Yeah, I thought at some point she was going to fudge it to make her look bad, like almost throw herself under a bus. Oh yeah, but I'm glad she didn't.
No. I think she's not. She's not self-destructive, but I think she does. You're right. She is getting kind of Lady Macbeth now about knowing how she got this gig and being super like triple cautious that she's not going to lose it now.
Yeah.
And again, it's that thing with relationships where when there's a thing that you can't talk about, it's still there.
Yeah.
It is always there more.
Yeah, it's there more because you
can't exercise it. You can't dispel it. You know.
Sometimes not knowing is the most damaging thing in a relationship.
Yeah, so that's what's going to drag them down. Unfortunately, I think is that the fact that they can't square, like that she knows and he knows, but they can't talk about it. They can't address it. They can't like work through it. It's always you can't get past something if you never address it.
Exactly.
So.
So I wonder, and ultimately we have to find out, why is Kim not around in Breaking Bad? Like there's gonna be something that drives her.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna be death
at
all, but I think like it's gonna be tantamount to that for Jimmy, like where she just completely. So I'm really curious.
Although I mean, I think that is what's going to be the case. Although there's an argument to be made that like, what if she just like they had separate offices, and they just
I know, right? She
never
always existed the whole time.
She just stayed super legit, and he became a total ambulance chaser, and like all along during the whole Walter White era, she was just like handling Mesa Verde and like corporate clients. And
I know.
My husband, we don't talk about that at home, and
I know. That would have actually been be good. I like that.
Yeah, either way, it all works. So yeah, you're right. Not a lot happens in this episode, but I think they're sort of setting up the steps for what's coming up, and we're getting Gus Fring, so there's that to look forward to.
I had to watch the
I know, me too.
I mean that's but it's and then this is again it's typical Vince style where he he gives us little bits and then gives us a big thing and then gives us little bits.
Right.
So, but yeah, I was re-Wikipediaing some of the Gus Fring stuff from Breaking Bad because it's been a hot second, and oh God, I'm just so excited, I'm just so happy.
I mean, and as much as I liked Breaking Bad, I really admire how this show is its own thing.
It is,
and how you could walk into this show without ever having seen Breaking Bad, and this is so rich a universe that you wouldn't get the shout outs or the references or the whatever, but it's all there.
It's all
and Jimmy Saul is such a fascinating character, and the sort of built-in minefields of this show being a prequel and having an inevitable destination, and one that they keep showing. It's like we know he's going to wind up in witness protection. We know he's going to wind up at that Cinnabon, but that doesn't mean that we know how he's going to get there, what the steps were. We're really. I mean, this is a long ass origin story in a sense, but it's such a compelling one and so rich that it's not it's not by any means a predictable origin story or one that we feel like we've seen before.
And I think that it just shows the quality behind the writers and the producers on this. And like so for me, when I saw Breaking Bad, I probably started watching when the third season was airing, and I consumed it. Like I had bronchitis. I was out for 2 weeks. I literally marathoned like 3 seasons, 2.5 seasons of Breaking Bad in like 14 days. And it became like, I don't obsess, I don't fangirl about a lot of things, but that was like, I was like, this is amazing.
Don't you?
I've never, not to that level. Not to the level where I'm like, I'm gonna write fan fiction and cosplay these characters. Oh my God, no. But I loved it. And to me, Breaking Bad was one of the best television shows I'd ever seen. And then comes Better Call Saul. Yeah. And I just am like, how could someone top that? And it's just, I think it's, and I've said this before on this very same, recap show for Saul and others, television as a medium has grown so much in the last decade that we're able to tell mini movies. You know, it's not just about a drama or a sitcom. Like, we're getting a more compelling story, almost like a book, unfold before us in a visual medium. And I just love where we are as creators and viewers.
Well, I think one of the big things that has changed in the last few years, in addition to obviously like cable allowing for more adult storytelling and for language and dramatic intricacies, I think that the season has replaced the episode for what people looked at as being an arc. So you look at old school drama shows, and even ones that still exist, like your Law and Orders or whatever. It's like they're self-contained units, and they're each sort of discrete kind of stories. And here you can like spread out and have a 12-hour movie basically, and not have to wrap it all up. And part of that is binging, and part of it is, I think, just a new type of serialized form in which we can tell dramatic stories or adventure stories or whatever in the style of like soaps or serials or whatever, where they can spread out.
It's very much in the vein of old radio plays.
Sure.
And I love that. I don't know, it makes me happy, like, because there was a period in my life where I'm like, oh, there's only no good television. Now I'm like, all I want to do is watch
There's
television.
too much fucking good television. Like, everybody who tells us, why aren't you reviewing X, Y, and Z? You're right. I wish we were. But I've only got so many TV watching hours in a week, and we've only got so many hours in here in a week, so we just have to kind of pick.
I'm actually seriously thinking, because there's stuff that I love Legion. For me, it's like the best superhero like TV show ever. And I'm like, why don't I just do it on my own on Twitch or something? So I'm actually probably going to start doing like my own recaps just in supplement to this, because there's stuff I'm watching and that I'm like, I want to talk about. Though if you ever follow me on Twitter, you'll know all my thoughts on everything all the time.
As they happen. All right, awesome. Well, listen, this is going to be a great season, I think, and we'll be back with more. So please join us. Thanks for watching.
Spring next week.
Woo!